Hello, and welcome to Conquering Finale. My name is Jason Lafredo, and I will be your host for what could end up being an epically long series of tutorial videos on how to conquer Finale. So, my objective with this series isn't to teach you how to simply get by with Finale, but I want to show you how to wrestle Finale into submission. I want I want you to bend it to your will and really conquer it. All right. I'm going to attempt to do this by giving you sort of a deep understanding of every tool and every function in Finale, and then hopefully show you how they all kind of work together. So Finale is an incredibly powerful and flexible program, but what it is not is a program that will automatically fix things for you and make them, everything look perfect. It's a trade-off. With power and flexibility comes responsibility, and Finale will happily produce anything that you ask it to, whether or not what you ask it to is good or not. So, just remember that Finale is not a substitute copyist, okay? So these videos will take a pretty exhaustive look at all, or hopefully all, of the functions and tools in Finale. So don't feel like you have to sit through every single minute of every video. I'll try to divide them into basic, intermediate, and advanced tutorials. So feel free to skip to the level you're at, or skip to a topic you feel like you could use some help with. Although I will say if you're an intermediate or advanced user, I would encourage you to check out some basic videos every once in a while. You may learn something so simple that it's going to change your world, and you didn't know after all those years of using Finale that it existed. Believe me, that's a common experience that I have had, using Finale, and I've been using Finale for like 25 years. So, all right, so I'm just going to open Finale file here, and we're going to get started with a couple things I'm going to show you before we really dive into it. The first thing I want to point out is that in these videos, on these files that I have prepared, I'm always going to place the version of Finale that I'm using in the bottom left corner of the page, so you'll be able to see where I'm at with that. Okay. Now, it's important to understand that Finale is a tools-based program, and you have your main tool palette down here. And these tools are generally organized by how elements function in the program, not necessarily by their musical function. All right, that's a little weird to understand, but it's an important thing to grasp. And I'll just show you a couple examples of this. The slur and the hairpin, for example, exist in the same tool. It's this Smart Shape tool here. Now, you would think a slur and a hairpin are not musically related. They're not, right? But how they are related in how Finale thinks of them is that they're both shapes that you can extend left or right, right? And there's other adjustments you can make to those shapes. And they both have beginning points and end points that attach to certain points in the measure. So that's the reason why a slur and a hairpin are categorized together, even though they're not musically similar. Same thing with the articulation tool. We have accents and fermatas here, which all exist in the articulation tool, and an accent and a fermata is not necessarily, musically similar at all. Oops, that's not the fermata. That's the fermata. So that's why they would be grouped together, and they're grouped together like that because they will move. They will attach to a note and move up and down with that note, right? So I know it's a little left-handed to think that way. Like you want to think a dynamic is a dynamic, a mezzo forte and a hairpin should be grouped in the same tool, but they're not. All right. I think once you kind of grasp this idea, you'll be in a good place to start learning Finale. All right. So a couple other things I want to show you right off the bat. There is a help menu in Finale, and in this help menu, you will find the user manual, the quick reference guide, the Finale tutorials, quick start videos, keyboard shortcuts, character sets, etc. And all of these things will take you to the Make Music website, the Finale website, and you'll be able to get a good, firm grasp of Finale from a lot of these things, particularly the tutorials and the quick start videos. You could go away and watch, check out the tutorials and watch all the quick start videos and have a pretty, good basic understanding of Finale. In fact, I encourage you to do that. And once you're done with that, and you've got kind of a start with Finale, come back to these tutorials, and hopefully I will be able to kind of fill in all the gaps and give you some more practical uses for all the things that you can do with Finale. All right. There's a couple other things I want to show you about navigating around the program before we really dive into the meat and potatoes of these videos. Finale has 3 different views, and what we're looking at right now on the screen is what Finale calls page view. And if you go to the view menu, you'll see in the second section here, you'll see I've got page view checked, and there's a few different options you can choose from, and you can check those out and see which ones you like and everything. But there's also scroll view and studio view, and they have their own shortcuts, as you can see on the right there. Now, scroll view is kind of what it sounds like. It's a view of your score in a scroll, right? And this will scroll infinitely left to right as long as there are measures until the end, and it will keep going if you have 800 measures or something. And then studio view is similar to scroll view in a lot of ways, except it adds the headers to the left, which will give you some playback information and stuff like that. Now, the one thing I do want to point out about scroll view and studio view specifically is that you have to be careful when making adjustments to elements in scroll view, because they will not always translate correctly to page view, particularly with vertical adjustments, and particularly with staffs. If you start opening and closing staffs, that will not translate between scroll view and page view. I only mention it because I've witnessed people get frustrated with Finale because they've kind of got everything to where they like how it looks and everything in scroll view, and then they just go and print the score, and then all of a sudden it doesn't look right. It looks horrible because they didn't do any work in page view. Just be aware that scroll view is there as sort of a tool to allow you to kind of write without having to think about what it's going to look like on the page yet. But you always have to go back to page view to really see what you're going to get. The WYSIWYG, right? That's the page view. Just wanted to point that out right off the bat so you don't get in trouble with that. And 2 other things I'm going to show you before we finish here today is the preferences and the document options. The preferences can be found in the Finale menu right here, or Command comma. And these are basic preferences about the program, how the program behaves, certain ways you can view the score in a default way, things that will allow you to edit, new, like where you save your file, all kinds of stuff. There's an auto save in here, which you may or may not want to use. And I want to point out that the preferences in Finale will remain the same no matter what file you have open, okay? Which is different from the document options. Now, the document options can be found in the document menu on the bottom, document options, or Command Option A. And we will get a different window, the document options window. Now, these document options will only apply to the document that you have open. Again, this is another thing I've witnessed people get in trouble with, is that they change all of these document options to the way they want to see their score, and then they go and open another file, and everything looks completely different. And they say, well, I already changed the way the chords are and the bar lines and everything. Why is it different? Well, it's because those document options are attached to that specific file. Now, there is a way to export the document options library and import into a new file, and I'll get into all that stuff later. Or the simple thing to do is just duplicate the file you're working on, and start over from that new file, that new duplicated file, and that would basically you're creating a template in that manner. All right. Again, just be careful not to get in trouble with that. So preferences are program-wide. Document options are only relate to the document. Important distinction. And I just wanted to pull these 2 things up just in this introduction video, because I will be coming in and out of these 2 windows quite often in all of the videos that are coming up. So just so you know where they are and generally what they do. And you'll notice in the document options, you have all this list of all of these different things that you can change, and this is where you're going to be fine-tuning different elements within the score on a global setting. All right, so that is preferences and document options. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it here for today. I appreciate you all joining me. I don't know, like I said, I'm a little I feel like I'm being a little ambitious with the scope of this project, and it's 2019 right now, and perhaps when I get to the final video in 2037, we'll all look back at this and laugh. But hopefully this will be helpful for some of you, and we'll go from here. As always, you can comment in the videos, or you can email me. I've got a new email set up for this tutorial series. It's jasonconquersfinale@gmail.com. So if you have comments or questions or suggestions for things you'd like to see, go ahead and email me or comment in the videos, and I'll take a look at that. So thanks for joining me. I'm looking forward to presenting Finale and hoping that I can get you all to conquer Finale. That's the goal. That is the goal here, the ultimate goal. So thanks for joining me, and come back and we'll start the tutorial series pretty soon.